Hi everyone. Um, Honestly, I didn't think ahead of time what I was gonna talk about, which is really terrible. Talks about being unprepared and just doing things out of, I guess, the desire to do things. Um, Today is Christmas Eve in the United States. I mean, it's Christmas Eve everywhere in the world. I just know that we call it Christmas Eve here. I don't know if that's the same. In other countries, they might not speak English, they might not be Christian. Either way, it's the day before Christmas. I remember when I was in Mexico, we called this time Noche Buena, which is a celebration the night prior. And if you don't know any Spanish, Noche means night or evening, more properly, depending on the way you want to see it, really. Um, Tonight, or this evening, we're gonna get together with family and friends here. This is the basement where I live, and in case you're wondering why I'm moving the way I'm doing it, is because I'm actually on one of those standing bicycle, I guess. I forget the name. I know it's got another name, but I'm not by no means, by a long shot, I'm not a fitness guy, even though I can't explain why. I could explain why, but we don't have that much time. Anyway, as many people that work with me or are, in a way or another related to the thing we do, know, today is the first day of kind of a long period of vacation time that we have. Usually by law, you close Christmas Day, which is the 25th, and New Year's. That's only 2 days. Today is the 24th, and yesterday was our last day of this year, and we only come back until January 6th, which, by the way, was a perfect setup for a stupid joke I made yesterday when I said goodbye to a contractor. He said, "Oh, when do I see you back?" I said, "In January 6th. And he looks at me and I said, "Yeah, we're storming the Capitol." They all laughed, and I laughed too. And I also apologize for saying Merry Christmas, even though the contractor said Merry Christmas before I did. And I replied with the same. And I said, "Merry Christmas." And then after a brief pause, I added, or as I'm actually supposed to say, "Happy Holidays." And we laughed, and then he asked me, and I said I would be storming the Capitol. And that's a weird joke to make. I mean, it's not even that funny. It's weird because you can either anger everyone or weirdly make everyone smile because they don't really know what you're talking about necessarily. You could be saying something or the exact opposite. January 6th, and if you happen to be one of my friends that is a native Spanish speaking person but who speak English, you know, whether it be former co-workers or just friends from life, Facebook, or just a person who is a Spanish speaking person, a native speaking person, and knows some Spanish. You know, in America, if you're not in America, there was almost 4 years ago what many called an insurrection. And on January 6th, people stormed the Capitol. And it's highly debated. Some call it an insurrection. Some claim it was a setup. I'm not gonna get political here. I just like laughing at stuff because at the moment when I said that I was coming back to work on January 6th, I remember all the people languishing still in jail. In my opinion, unjustly. You might have a different opinion, but that's okay. That's why we live in a free country still. And but if you were a Democrat, you could have understood my comment as we are storming the Capitol to stop President Trump from taking office. But if you are a Republican, you might understand that I'm making fun of the fact that some people don't see how ridiculous it was to call January 6th an insurrection. And they could both be right, because honestly I didn't think of what I was saying, as I sometimes do. I just thought it was funny, and it was to me funny. And people laughed. They could have all got angry, in all fairness. So that's one of those risque situations, and I don't recommend it. But anyway, I guess what I wanted to say to all my co-workers and American people who would happen, or people in general, even if you are not Christian, I just want to wish you a safe holidays, December feast, Christmas, New Year's, whatever fits you, right? I, on my part, happen not to have New Year's resolutions. I stopped many years because I realized I still hadn't accomplished my New Year's resolutions. Some of them I did, and some of them have long expired since I accomplished them, right? I'm not against it. I just personally stopped. The same way I'm not an organ donor. All right, people think it's a lack of altruism not being an organ donor. I'm not advocating for you not to donate your organs. I'm just saying I personally don't want to do it. And I have my reasons, and that's probably for a different video. That comes to mind because recently I read a story that a father, after his daughter died, donated his daughter's body for scientific research, only for that body to be sold to the army, to be used as a test in a bombing testing center. So in other words, they took this grieving man's daughter's body, corpse, more specifically, and they blew it up into oblivion, and they paid the research center. They paid $6,000 to the association who sold them the body. Okay? People get the idea that when you donate your body to science, that you're going to be in a sterile situation in some kind of a lab, and that you would be surrounded by the greatest minds that this world has ever known, and they would be marveled at the wonders of the human anatomy. And if you're religious, you would realize that life is a miracle. And even if you're not religious, you will realize that the fact that we came into existence is quite marvelous in itself. And if you're not religious, if you're an atheist, you'd probably respect it even more, right? Because for us Christians, if there is an afterlife, that kinds of make you postpone whatever it is, happiness, whatever, until the next life. Some people live a really lackluster life. They are penitent and sorrowful, which is not needed to be a Christian, by all means, thinking that by doing so they would get a greater reward up in heaven. I can't say that that's wrong. I just think it's wrong. And as I tell my kids, and I'm usually right, So, and I'm right because I say so, basically. Uh, but anyhow, if you're an atheist, like the comedian Ricky Gervais says it, you know, the fact that there is no afterlife should give you the motivation um, to live your life in a manner that should be guided by the understanding that your life could end at any moment, and you shouldn't postpone those things that you wanted to do for later. I know a couple of people that are atheists. I mean, personally, not many personally. I know celebrities and people who are non-believers or atheists, but one of my favorite ones is my good friend, Mr. Jack Strang. And I hope I'm not, I don't think he's a closeted atheist, but he's such a wonderful guy that, you know, you would really either hate or love. You know, a lot of people that I know, me included, we go through admiration, I guess, that is beyond friendship. In fact, my co-worker, my friend PJ, we work together every day. We joke around, like saying, you know, challenging each other to see who's Jack's best friend. All right, and of course we're only kidding because the only person who gets to decide who's Jack's best friend is Jack, right? But he is an interesting person. One of my bosses, one of the partners, there is three, he told me once, I don't think he gets along with Jack. Well, I know he doesn't get along, and I believe that they keep it professional, and I'm not gonna say much about that, but there is a lot to say. And I was gonna say I'm not gonna say names, but that's usually my setup, by saying I'm not gonna say names, but then I say my dialogue and I include the name of the person and the thing that I was gonna say. So technically I didn't say who I was talking to, but by including their name in my dialogue kind of ruins everything. The truth is, one of the things I admire the most about Jack is whatever he tell anyone, he can tell it to you, to your face. And that's rare. And that doesn't have to be something that is necessarily insulting or degrading, but even so, either way, you'll hear it. And I like that, you know, you don't get that a lot. But so one time, Jerry D'Alessandro heard me saying that I was talking to someone, and I said, oh, my friend Jack. And then, you know, he kind of comes back and put me aside, and he says, you know, you think that he's your friend, but do you think he considers you a friend? And I tell him, oh, I don't know if he considers me a friend. I know I consider him a friend, and that's enough for me, you know? Whether or not he considers me a friend is none of my worries. And I stand true to that, because that's the thing, you know? I think he's a wonderful person in his own particular way, and he's a man who has lived his life in his own terms, and I respect the heck out of him. All right, that's a very interesting individual, and even though he might or not believe in God, I wish him a Merry Christmas. I'm gonna close this video with general thought. Lately, people have planted division within our hearts. I don't think that's healthy at all, by a long shot, and we shouldn't. Mainly for political reasons. I most of my life distrusted politicians. I think that even those who start with good intentions, there is so much compromise in politics that in order to get elected, you need to get money. And who's got the money gets to decide, because to a degree, you also don't want to upset the one who has your re-election at their fingertips, right? When you finish an election, I respect whomever you voted for. If you're a Harris supporter, that's up to you, all right? I'm neither, and people will be surprised, but I'm neither a Republican or a Democrat. I'm not. But I'm registered as an independent. For the past years, I voted Republican all across the ballot because there weren't good enough options for me within the Democrats, right? I don't like people supporting the belief that, as they call them, people of color are somehow victims. All right? I find that ridiculous, of a notion. I guess I'm one of them. I'm a person of color, as they would say. And one time, I remember, I walked into the office and Mr. Jack Strang is talking to Felicity Fuller, another person that I like a lot personally, and because they are really gentle people who don't pretend to be what they're not, and yet they are still wonderful people, right? And I got into the office and I said, "Oh, hey, what were you talking about?" I mean, not minding my own business. And when I say the office, I don't work in an office. I work in construction, as I've said before, and in other videos perhaps. But there is an office to it, and Felicity works in the office, and Jax is like a hybrid, part field, part office, like in an intermediate sort of. If you were, or if I were, to use more proper terminology, I guess the word would be a liaison or something like that. You know, I can say that I use the word properly. Usually when you borrow words from a different language, you end up butchering them, right? Like the time when a co-worker back in the day had corrected my wife because she said mango salsa. I said, "Oh honey, it's not mango, it's mango." That cracks me up. I'm like, "No, it's not." And in that blank space, probably would be feeling to use a word that's equivalent to female dog, all right? But yeah, the word is mango. So be happy. If you thought you didn't know any Spanish, you probably already know more than you think, right? More than you think. One of them would be mango, and then salsa, mango salsa. And yeah, that's the right pronunciation. And if we go from the point that I'm usually right, just trust me. I was born speaking Spanish, and I still do, and I used to do it really well. And I can prove it to you by saying something in Spanish, but you can just check another video and watch me. All right, so they were talking about and something, and I asked what it was, and they said, "Well, you know, we were just saying that how come every other race gets to be proud of their own race except whites, and we were wondering how come we don't get to be proud to be white." And if I was a self-entitled judge in the matter, I said, I think you should be proud of being white. And I think they should. And again, me being the philosophical person that I am, well, I guess that depends also on the meaning that you assign to the word white. Because technically speaking, no one is white or black, right? Like you can't see it, but there's a lot of like this bicycle I'm on is black, right? This wire looks white, but it's actually metallic color. It's just oxidized. Anyway, you get what I'm saying, right? You buy a black bicycle or anything that's black, and you will never find out the person whose skin is that color, even those whose complexions are rather dark. I have a funny type of melanin situation going on my skin. You can't really tell, but my it was more visible when I was a kid. Um, the part where I'm from in Mexico gets a lot of sun, all right? So I was way darker all year round because we had sun all year round. But there were parts of my body that were lighter, and then they had patches that were dark. One of them was somewhere here. You can't see it, but over here, I had like a really dark patch, and this used to be like, you know, it looked lighter because the rest was darker, I guess. All right. So I find it really funny because I remember that when I got married, my wife's nephew was really little, like not 2 years old, and when he grew up a little more, he comes up to me and he asks me, "Uncle, what color are you?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" Say, "Are you like brown or black?" And usually my snarky answer to what are you? Because people usually wonder, right? Uh, at, at some point, I remember a few times uh, having had African American people, which is the term that some people advocate for. I prefer to use what sometimes I have been corrected by said African Americans, the term black, although I just explained why they're not black. And I also disagree in the way they categorize black people, because if a white person and a black person get married, all of a sudden the kids are black because one of the parents is black. I think that's baloney. I don't believe it. They are biracial, all right? And in the case of me, I would guess we're multiracial because we've had the Spanish mixing with the Indians in Mexico, and then they brought up some people from Africa and South Asia, Pakistan, India, things like that. And we are the result of it. I literally had people from Iraq talking to me in Arabic and me being like, I was gonna say salam alaikum, but no. At the time I didn't even know that. And I just apologized because I didn't know the language. And I've had people from India being very friendly to me, perhaps because they see a co-national, and sadly they are surprised to find out that I'm actually Mexican. It's a curious thing, right? But anyway, I think that you should be proud of whatever you are. You should try to be happy. Um, and before you start erasing all your friends that are on Facebook, but that you know personally, and you know that they are not bad people, I know a case that a lady is mad at some guy that she thinks that is like an extreme MAGA Republican. That guy is like really mellow and he doesn't even vote. He's not political at all. It's just that the past administration was so bad that everybody, even Democrats, wanted it out. It's not that they like Trump, it's just that they like eating and being able to afford gas. Alright, so I guess Merry Christmas to you. whomever you might be. And well, thank you for keeping me company while I was pedaling this bicycle, right? This is probably a mistake, like those decisions I make, just all of a sudden, right? Tomorrow I'm probably gonna be hurting because I never do this. I have no reason not to do it. In fact, I saw a friend of mine, Javier Guerrero, and he looks great. I said, hey, what's your secret? He just told me, buy a bicycle and a dog and you'll lose all the weight in the world. And he looks great, so I think that in his particular situation, that is true. All right? Some other day I'll talk about Javier a bit. He's an interesting guy. He's got a huge dragon tattoo on his back. He's been coloring that thing for years. I think he's done now. I'm talking when I met him like 20 years ago. And he says he's done, I think. And maybe one day I can see it. But anyhow, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Sorry that I'm bugging you with all these videos. I'm actually not sorry, I'm just trying to be polite. But if you're watching, it's your fault, you could have been doing something else. But me, I'm trying to multitask, I guess. Just trying to exercise a little, work up some sweat. I'm right close to a boiler, right there. So I don't know if it's the exercise or if it is the heat that irradiates, but I'm getting some spurts of sweat running off my forehead, which, since I'm usually on a state of dehydration, almost permanent, I don't get to do, which is terribly unhealthy, but for every one of your organs. So I'm trying to turn that around. I make no promises, I have no goals, I'm just gonna do it. And by I'm gonna do it, it's just do what I'm doing, right? I find out that most of us don't do things because we find it easy or easier to come up with excuses, all right? Me was like, oh, but I have to change to do that. Well, today I use this for my PJs. I brought my glasses because sometimes you need them, right? And I figure I'm just gonna sit the phone on the. This had a touch screen, but this is an old one. It's kind of it's not even connected anymore, that thing. But I figure I just put some Gorilla Tape at the bottom, fold it in half. That's holding the bottom part of this, and then the other part is just lifted by a box that I found over there, probably with nails. I'm actually gonna take a picture of this. By the way, this is my work phone, right? It's an interesting thing over here. I don't know if you've ever seen yourself in a mirror, right? Like when there is a mirror behind you and then that creates the cave effect. Like it's just a tunnel of mirrors just reflecting themselves ad infinitum. I don't think I need to translate that. I'm pretty sure the American school system did a banging job and you would know what that means in Latin. You know, but infinitum sounds like infinity, so you should be able to figure it out. Come on, guys. If not, just give a call to Jack, which is what I do when I don't know anything. I trust Jack more than I trust Google. All right? So, again, be safe. Enjoy yourselves. We never know when it's the last time we're gonna see each other. And please don't be sad this Christmas. There's always a reason to be sad. I know I have plenty. But I try to smile and be happy. Okay? And if Mr. Logan is watching us from heaven, where I'm sure he's at, God bless you. All right, that's it, my friends. See ya.